About 3 years ago or whatever, I was walking my dogs in my hometown of Maple Ridge, and I was looking up into the mountains, and there was just something, I just felt something was calling me up there. Can't explain it, but I know that my girlfriend had the same experience about being called to the woods at about the same time. And after that, shortly after that, I saw a fella from my hometown called Randy Brisson, who really knows his stuff and has had just amazing encounters and the spiritual aspect of it, and just about any kind of way you could look at it, he's experienced it. And I got together with him and started going out into the woods with him, and things just started happening like, wow. So what I'm not going to talk too much about sightings or footprints or the energy kind of stuff that they do today, although on some of the pictures I will be relating some stories that maybe incorporate all of those different things. But I'm basically, a lot of this is going to be talking about their little stick writing that we didn't discover, but we became aware of, and kind of making more, people are understanding it more and starting to understand it and finding them all over North America kind of thing. So that's Tom and I. These are examples of just some glyphs or whatever. There are a lot of similarities between some of these ancient writings and whatever and what we've been finding.
I want to point out here, on the upper right, you see an Indian shooting an arrow with a buck. That's on my drums. The lady that makes drums in here made one for me for our 2012 Richmond conference, and that picture is on my drum. And this is Newspaper Rock. It's just outside of Moab, Utah. Very common set of glyphs that we use today. Icelandic runes. Now, one thing to remember about these, just because they look similar does not mean they mean the same thing. Context is everything. If I use the word B-O-W, what am I talking about? A ribbon in your hair, a bend at the waist, the front end of a chip, or something to launch an arrow? You have to know the context. Okay? Same thing here. What we're seeing, they're doing a job with the same materials that the Icelanders did. Doesn't mean they mean the same thing, but there are going to be similarities.
That's an example of a glyph there I found just on the asphalt in my area, and it's a more complex one. These Ys, they really use a lot of these Ys. It's just like, seen so many of those. Okay, this is one that found in BC, and this is like a banner glyph.
This is my signature. When they want to talk to me, this is what I find. Okay, we found this one in our research area near his home in Maple Ridge. 8 months later, we were camped in Oregon near Bagley Hot Springs. Okay, we spent the day, left camp, walked around, or drove around, spent all day gone, came back, looked at my chair, and that was there. Okay. Any doubt they're talking to the same person? Here's another one that was meant for me. See, the X.
This is a welcome.
Welcome.
Back, or welcome, Tom. Back to our area or whatever.
Yeah, basically what that says, they were wanting me to come back up. That glyph was left and says, welcome, Tom, back to Canada.
Now, I just wanted to say one thing. With a lot of these symbols, like we find a lot of the X's, H's, A's, P's. We've got how many pictures? 18,000?
About 18,000.
About 18,000 pictures. This is in a wide area. So, I mean, if there was a slight chance there was somebody going around and hoaxing these, when I went to Washington State here, Oregon, places like that, and I found the exact same thing, and they were changing and adding to them hour, you know, from hour to hour, like go away, come back, that kind of thing. That eliminated for me any possibility of that.
Sometimes they change. They'll change progressively. There'll be one thing, we'll come back the next time, and they've been altered just a bit. This is one of my favorite. This, remember I told you I got to attend the birth of twins last January? This is where she told us. You can see this was actually 5 different when I just used 2. But the lady's name is Rajase, the female's name is Rajase. Her mate is Forshna. And basically what she said here is, look guys, I'm pregnant. If you'll notice, this is her H group. She always uses an H, and she always uses rocks when she makes it. It'll be somewhere involved. Okay, that's Rajase and her mate. The mate's gone, and the baby's there. Okay. Why? Communication. You know, something's happening.
Okay, my friend Sue and I actually found 3 individual tracks in the mud that day. There was, I think, 2 lefts and 1 right. The thing was, it was a wide area of mud, probably maybe, you know, the flooring here, part or whatever, was that kind of a vast area. And there was only 1 single track. I don't know how they just got the 1 track down without leaving any others, but that was the case in all 3 of them. There's a small little baby track that my friend Randy Brisson took. This is really interesting. I found this here with the rock and the other, and then this leaning up here. And one day I was coming back, and for some reason I have had, like, they do put thoughts in my head. I don't get the extent of the mind speak that Tom gets. I have had some talking in my head or whatever, or an idea placed in my head, or I think they can, I'm pretty sure that they can read your thoughts because I've thought stuff and then it has happened. But in any event, I was coming up the trail, I think about a week or so after that, and I was specifically thinking of this, and it was just off the trail, and it's on an area where, what? I'm going to need that though.
Yeah, I know. You can have it back in a minute.
On an area where, I mean, I know, you know, I've been up and down that trail so many times. I know, and a thought came into my head. I wonder if that is still there. Just popped into my head randomly. And I walked up, and as I was coming up the trail, I was looking for it. And like I said, it was just off trail. I knew exactly where it was. I did not see it. So I went up to my gifting area, sat there for maybe 20 minutes or so, came back down, and it was back again. I need that.
I wanted to point out.
Yeah, I know what you want to point out. So it was back again. There's not a hope. Can I say how? Not a hope in hell I missed it. So, and then another time that I think the next time we came, we saw it like, I saw it like this, and you see this piece here? It's kind of partially snapped and holding this piece up. They snap little twigs, but they don't break them all the way, but they partially snap them. And that to me is a sure sign that that was them, because I've seen that so many times where they will use those partially snapped twigs and whatever, and that just from experience and from my pictures or whatever, and from what I've known, I just know that that is a sure giveaway to me that they prop that up.
You notice it isn't there in the first one. It was imported for that second one. Also, look at the little stone on top. It's turned about 22 degrees.
Is that the same day?
No, it was 2 days, wasn't it?
You mean from when it to this? Within a week, yeah, not very long.
Yeah. This is one. I'm sorry we can't show you the one on the left, I can't show you the whole cliff. It's just, it's a very sacred thing. We were shown this. If you look at that, you'll see there's 3 sticks. It's an asterisk. The bottom one is fully moss covered. The middle one is about half moss covered. The top one has very little moss on it at all. And it's tied with a width. And that is a split maple branch wrapped and tied. And what that is, that's a marker, that's a transition. That talks about from going from the old to the new. If you looked at a First Nations totem and it told you a story, that's what this is doing. Where we found this glyph, it was covered by newly cut ferns. Okay, there's a trackway that walks right across the middle of it. This thing is about, what would you say, 8–10 feet across, this asterisk?
The big one?
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah, and the trackway right through the middle of it. The prints were about 52 inches apart, and they were about 16 inches in length. Okay? Very sacred structure, so I can't show you the whole thing, unfortunately. The one on the right is was from my friend Darla, my mentor. That's a Four Seasons cross that she found that was also tied. And then Brian found another one. Look on the left there, you see this beginning or ending of a lean-to structure, but go to the middle joint, and the picture on the right shows you that was tied as well.
Picture's not that good, but it looked exactly the same as the other ties to me.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. Now this one is kind of cool because it speaks of them placing a thought in your head. I've had this experience so many times. I was coming back from a long hike, and where I parked, and this was well, whatever. I know this wasn't people, so I'm not going to say it wasn't busy, but it wasn't busy there. But in any event, as I approached my car, I thought, I wonder if they put something by my car, a glyph or something by my car. So I got back and I found this, and they use rocks, they use ferns. This is like a direction kind of thing. The rocks, I think, indicate clan members, how many were there. But these things are extremely interesting, these little symbols. And this is a blown up, that's this one blown up or whatever. And it looks like a direction kind of thing, but it also is the A for the clan leader or one of the clan members. But that just shows you, I mean, speaks to me of how they can put a thought in your head.
He does get thoughts other than from them occasionally.
But that's, that's not just one time. This happens all the time, but that's just a good example of it.
Why? Interaction. A subtle way of saying, we're here.
Oh, wow.
This one is, another one that's very special to me. We were in Canada, this was last spring, wasn't it? And we had spent several days there. Our whole team was there, all 3 of us. And we were leaving. And as we were leaving, Sue saw this. And I knew it was for me, but I didn't know why. And I came back and I studied this. This is an 8-point star. We find 6 points a lot. This is an 8-point. I started researching it to look at 8-point stars. And what I found was the Star of Melchizedek. Okay? It spoke to me. This is the symbol of the Star of Melchizedek. I hold the priesthood of Melchizedek. I'm Latter-day Saint, Mormon, and I hold the priesthood of Melchizedek. This was erected for me as an honor thing. The next time Brian went in, it was a 6-point star. They had removed the pieces that made it an 8-point.
Ah, okay, this is interesting. This is one of my gifting areas. And I was leaving like these little colored stones here, tennis balls, and these seashells. So, and one of the reasons is they were leaving a lot of, this is one of the first areas where they were communicating with the stick cliffs, with me. They were leaving an awful lot there. So I decided I'll leave these items here and see what they do. So I was there when I placed these, just like this. And I thought, well, I'll take a picture of it, so if they change it, I'll remember. Now, can you just go to the next pic for a second? Now, as I did that, I took the picture, and then I see this blue jay landed maybe my head level or whatever, maybe to this chair over here, and was just sitting there. And I turned around and I walked over, and I'm taking the picture of this blue jay, snapped about 2 or 3 pictures or whatever, and I looked back, and the bottom shell was missing. I didn't go anywhere other than turn around and just, you know, like walk towards the tree to take the picture of the bird. So I didn't really leave the area. I just like walked a few feet back. I noticed this bottom shell was missing. So I looked over to the left about 3 feet, and on a root that a root that was out of the ground, the shell was placed perfectly on top of that root, about 3 feet to the left. So I checked my camera again, and just to make sure what's going on here. And yeah, the picture was exactly as it was shown here, but something moved that shell when I was there. I don't know what it was, but something invisible or something, whatever. Okay, my friend Sue saw this going in, and this is in Oregon. I think it's, what's the name of that, Three Bears?
No, this one was up McKenzie River.
Okay, in any event, she likes the cabin glyphs or whatever, and you'll see in the next picture, but she was saying, geez, I like cabin glyphs. She saw this on the way in. On the way out, it was changed to that, and that's what we call a cabin glyph, right? That thought occurred to her, that she likes them, and then magically, it was a cabin glyph on the way out. This little vine here, it makes an A there, H here. These are some of the symbols that I find. But the interesting thing with this is this green vine goes over, under, over, under, over, under. So the chances of that falling like that randomly, I would say, are pretty nil.
One of the greatest skepticisms we get is, oh, the wind just did it. I want to see the wind that did that. Okay? Yeah, some things the wind can do, but when you find the same thing across 20 kilometers and they're all the same, it's a very selective wind.
Oh, this one I love. Okay, I get out of my car in the parking lot, and they'll they'll run around in the parking lot or whatever of this provincial forest, like at night or whatever. I mean, they come in pretty close, especially well, at night I guess they can do anything they want, but during the week they'll come in really close when there's not a lot of people around. So anyway, I get out of my car and I take this picture. This is a series of 3 pictures. Picture 1, picture 2, picture 3 that were taken over. This one and this one were taken within a minute or so, not even 30 seconds, and this one was taken a couple hours later. So anyway, I get out of my car, and if you notice this piece right here, what I did, I got out of my car and I'm taking my picture. Click. I looked to my left for maybe 15 seconds. Something caught my attention over there. As I look back on the second picture, this piece here is up here. Now this right here is elevated. There was no wind, this is elevated. So how this got here, went over here and tucked in within 15 seconds is, how did that happen? Something moved that I did not see. Now, maybe that speaks of cloaking, or maybe something else did it, but came back about a couple hours later from my hike and this piece was gone. They changed it once again. But that speaks of, like I said, they actually, this literally changed when I was right there, so
I tend to think it's wacko, but that's all right. Why? Again, a lesson to notice subtle details. They do teach us to pay attention.
Here's a direction glyph. And right here, it doesn't show up that good, but the foot was pushing the ground up right here. This is a track. And I don't know how many times I found glyphs by tracks. Like they'll leave it to be found. If they have a relationship with you, which is what really is what you want to strive for, is to have a relationship with them and a trust and whatever, they will often leave a track on purpose, I think. And this...
In our work, we can never really eliminate totally the human element. But what we seek to do is we find clues, we look for clues other than just the glyph to raise it out of the possibility of the human element, to minimize it, okay? If we can get above the 70 to 80th percentile, then we can feel pretty good about showing it. Like I say, between us we have about 18,000 pictures of glyphs that we follow, okay? What we're showing are 40 or 50 out of that 18,000. We have vetted these pictures, okay? We've looked for clues, we've searched for things. This is a really good clue. When you got a 16, 17 inch track there and the glyph bent in it, that tells me that this probably was not done by a human, okay? This is, again, amazing stuff. These next series of pictures that I'm going to run through, I'll go pretty quickly, cover 25 square kilometers, okay? And the triangle is a very sacred symbol to them. Three-sided, it's their trinity, air, earth, water. Okay, you will find triangles in great profusion wherever these guys live. That one, that one, that one, that one. Notice that one's a twin of the first one, just in a different area.
Oh, okay.
And then this guy.
Huh. This is one of my all-time favorites. This was at a beach where Randy Burson and I were about in January or whatever. It's got the classic A. It's got the welcome X incorporated into the A, as you can see. And then see this little thing over here? It's tucked up into here. This is a little A too, which I think is kind of neat. In any event, we were, when we found that, we both noticed out of our periphery vision, and then actually turned around and saw it. There was a big fella watching us in the bush, and we saw him walking by left to right, and he was 10, 11 feet tall and massive. And I know he was just watching, he left that for us, and he was watching to see.
And if you notice, this one has, it not only has an x-axis and a y-axis, width and length, but it's also got a z-axis. It's vertical too.
Yeah. This is a stick man that they left for me on the trail. I'm not going to go into detail of why, but I just know that they just leave stuff personally for me, and it's not because I'm special or whatever, it's just because I have a relationship with them. So a lot of the stuff I find is personal, right? Like anybody would if they're, okay, these are some more stick men. This guy is neat. Now, this is one of the reasons that there's a couple points on this guy that I am really pretty sure that they do it, because they snap these little sticks. So if you look at this guy here, it's snapped, this piece is snapped, like I've seen hundreds of times. This piece is leaning up against it, and I see that is a very common thing that they do too. So that is a pretty good clue to me that they made that. Here's another guy, looks like he's bent over running kind of thing, and then another stick person. It almost looks like they're pregnant or something to me.
Yeah, we're not sure what that one is. Whether that's a horse or a pregnant horse or a seahorse. But it's cool.
Yeah. Just another little intricate one. Sense of humor.
Oh yeah. We have probably, what, 4 of these, 5 of these?
Yeah.
Happy face ones. This stick, yeah, I'm pointing on my screen here like you can see it, right? This stick showed up time after time after time in different places. The same stupid stick. We have examples of that. There's a little crooked one that I can show you in a half a dozen different pictures, 10 kilometers apart. They take the stick and put it again somewhere else.
You know, some people have spoke about their sense of humor or whatever. I mean, I've definitely noticed that. I mean, some of the stuff they do, I can just imagine them watching and just giggling, like, what are you going to, you know. Here's another kind of funny guy.
Go from that to that.
Yeah. Oh, okay. This is like a mirror image kind of thing. Now this one, they're almost the same, except they're mirror images or whatever. And the thing I like about this is that this is like a multi-signature glyph. H is one of the clan members, A is one, P is another, and so I'm going to, okay, so you see there's an H there? See the H? P, A, and then there's the X. And that to me says that they're welcoming, that's a welcome thing from those three members. They're welcoming, that's a welcome X or friendship with the H, the P, and the A.
And if you look at the one on the right at the top of the A, that's building a footprint. Okay? There's a footprint there. And the H, as I said before, as Roger said, that's the young female that had twins last year. The P is her mate, Forstna, and the A is her father, Arishna.
Now another real interesting point on this, right? We think that Rajase had, well, that's the birth that you attended. So basically since that birth, I haven't seen the H and the P show up a lot. They're busy. They're not interacting. They've got their own things to do. So I'm finding mostly the A now. So.
If you can imagine having a pair of twins that are a year and a quarter old, that are about that high, yeah, they're busy.
Okay, that's that A I found when I had the sighting there. This is another snow A, and we had some, we heard the fella that day, we sensed him. Randy and I could feel them when they're around sometimes. And this is a snow A propped up too, and it's a little piece that goes right through the triangle here, down to here, it's propping it up in the snow. There's no tracks around there either, but.
And something significant on the snow A, that's birch. In that area of British Columbia, birch grows down on the river bottoms and the creek bottoms. Okay, this is well up on the side of the mountain. So that was carried up there to me. This is very special. This was right outside Brian's house. Okay, if you look, point to the mic. See how they made my glyph up there? Okay. And then the A, that's Arishna, that's the clan leader. Now, Raj was pretty much serving as Brian's contact until she had the twins. Now she can't do it, she doesn't have time. So what they did with this glyph is they told him that his contact now was mainly Arishna and me. Trying to get him away from Raja's sake because she didn't have time. But isn't that absolutely beautiful art?
Yeah, right on my asphalt, right on my townhouse. I mean, they can come right into your townhouse if they want.
They don't come in mine much anymore. I have 2 dishes.
They literally can. I mean. Oh, okay. This is the story. Now this is now, as I was talking about, this is building relationships with them or whatever. This is really personal story. This is like a beautiful thing to me. It's I'm really blessed to tell this, and I hope I can express it right. That's mountains around my forest. The first one was the forest, looking mystical. This is around in the area where it happened. It's just the beautiful water there that we drank. Okay, so. My friend Sue and I were camping out a couple years ago. And the reason I wanted to show you this one is because now this is the welcome X, but you also see that with this etching here, it makes an A. It also makes a P. Can you see that? Okay.
And
so
those is between 2 footprints?
Yeah. Well, we were walking around there. It could be. It could be. I mean, okay. So anyway, we left camp for about an hour, and this is like five miles into the deep bush I've been there like 20 times. I think I've only seen one other person, not even on this beach area or whatever, but even anywhere in the area. So there was no, just have to take a leap of faith. There was no people that came back there. Anyway, when we came back, they smoothed the etching out, and it was, they just left this. You want to go back and?
Yeah, I have a question though. How come you're the Canadian and you're saying miles, and I'm the American and I'm saying kilometers?
Because I don't understand kilometers. So we came. Okay, so we came because when I grew up in school, we did feet, yards, and when they switched over, I'm not learning that.
You just kept your feet, right?
Yeah. So okay, so we came back about an hour later. I'm going to say there's just nobody around there. This is deep, deep in the woods. So okay, we came back an hour later. Move on, Tom. And they smoothed out the etching. You there?
Hang on. Somebody screwed up. I won't say who. There.
So we came back and we found that. So somebody came into our camp where we were not there and smoothed that out and changed it a little bit. And it's just so you notice, right? Or whatever. Or it could mean more than that, but a lot of the stuff is... And we found this track there, so this could have been the perpetrator. That was about 16 inches, real deep. It had the, what do you call that when it's raised in the middle? The arch. It had all the characteristics of a Sasquatch.
And survivor men notwithstanding, notice there are no claw prints on this.
Okay, so anyway, this is the year after. This is just last year, and Sue and I were there again, and we were collecting these beautiful berries, salmon berries, and these wild blueberries, I guess they're called. What are they called exactly? Huckleberries. And go on. Anyway, an area where we went to the previous year, and once again, this is even more remote. This is you have to go over like a log jams, cross water. It's more remote than even the first area. And you know, we were walking to where we were going and we were heading. We've seen about 8 sets of this SB etched in the sand. Now remember I showed you the other stuff that was etched in that glyph? When I first seen it, I thought, oh, well, people did that. But we found 8 of them leading exactly to where we were going, to the exact spot where we were going. And hold on. And the thing is that we were picking berries and everything leading up to that. Okay, so then we decided we're gonna, let me back up a little bit. So I thought, okay, it's probably people, but then I started thinking, wait a minute, there's no people there. The SB is our initials, Susan and Brian. There's no I love you, there's no heart, there's no arrow through it, there's no people around there. And it's leading exactly to where we were headed, you know, the exact little spot. And there was, so anyway, okay, so then we're bushwhacking through the bush because we didn't want to go over and under the water and log jams and whatever again. And I'm pretty sure, well, they always observe you, but I'm pretty sure they were observing us, picking the berries or whatever. So we bushwhacked through this, I wouldn't want to, you know, mud bogs and all kinds of stuff, and came to a clearing. And there was no salmonberry bushes anywhere in that, no overhanging salmonberry bushes, nothing. This is way like a couple hundred yards bushwhacking in a place I'm sure that a person hasn't been in who knows how long. And we found this single berry that was obviously put there by hand. And that was just a clue to me that they were, you know, they were watching us and watching us pick the berries or whatever. And here's our breakfast, which is just amazing.
They didn't even invite me for this either.
Okay, here's just some interesting little glyphs. The peeled aspect again.
Notice the trail you're following. Return regularly and chronicle changes. Look for changes. Use your camera. Respect what you're finding. Okay? You're interested in this kind of interaction, and understand most are not for us. We figured that probably 15% tops are designed for us to understand. The rest of them are interior communications for them.
I want to make one point on that, on those initials again. It's in a little valley kind of thing with mountains around, and it rains there pretty well every day. So that was another thing. I mean, it was raining there either the night before or early that morning. So it just, anything that we looked at that it could have been human, it just didn't make sense to us, you know.
These are just some of the stuff we've been working with lately. Some of the just intricate, beautiful things that they do out there. This one is special because there's 3 different species of wood that make this up. That's Douglas fir, hemlock, and cedar. Now they all grow in the general area, but not where this was found. You know, not all of them right where this was found. So those were brought in.
That's beautiful.
Yeah. Isn't that clever? Now, Scott Nelson, Ron Moorhead have been working for ages on language, on oral language. We're starting to recognize a written language. Remember, oral language has been around in humans for 200,000 years. Written language has been around for about 5,000 years. Now we're seeing the same thing here. People who don't want to believe these are people, okay? Written language, oral language, and now art. You've got art, you've got culture, you've got language. What does it take to move from the ranks of a dumb ape to a human? And I didn't say dumb human. Look at that one. That's elevated. That's held up.
That was actually, I wish I had got the picture. It was actually changed the very next day. That looks like, Sue was saying this resonated with her because in the county in Oregon, they've got windmills or whatever. And this is in her area, and she was saying, just hit her one day. That's the windmills in my area. At least that's what her impression was. A little pi symbol. I mean, I got to stress that, like I said, the A's, the P's, the H's, the pi's, a lot of these things, you've seen so many of them that, you know, you're seeing like, a few select ones, whatever, but we've seen like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of each.
Then this one is recurring. We probably have 100 pictures of the pi symbol from that area.
Yeah. Look at that. That's just gorgeous.
Again, a double triangle.
Ah, here's those little sticks that I told you that they partially snap. Okay, now I'm going to leave this for Lisa Devereaux Kraus tomorrow, but there's a really interesting story behind this, and I'm not going to ruin it for her. But this one has to do with part of her story and how they bring people into this or whatever, like get somebody to, it's kind of hard to explain, but they will have a couple people working on something and then eureka, something goes off. And anyway, she'll explain it better, but this is, yeah. Okay. Ah, this was found in a parking lot in Portland. And, okay, it's the Welcome X or whatever. Now, there was no other sticks or anything on that parking lot, but that's not, that in itself is unusual. But I have seen so many times this little piece at the end of one of the sticks or whatever. I recognize that, and that is the part that told me that was them for sure. There's no doubt in my mind because of this little piece here.
Well, I did want to touch just a little bit on the X, because that's probably one of the most misunderstood of their glyphs. I hear so many times it's a keep out. It is not. It is a welcome or a greeting. When you say it's a keep out, that's anthropomorphization.
Yeah.
We're putting our value on their work.
I think it's a welcome and a friendship.
I have never seen it otherwise.
I've never had a negative experience, truthfully. Here's another A.
But look at the trail leading up to it. Isn't that cool? Not only that, but point out the twin glyphs up at the top there. See the twin sticks up there?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Since the twins were born, we get those a lot.
We've seen these a lot, these little tiny sticks side by side peeled, yeah.
Yeah.
Ah, there's my gift rock.
There's a story with this. There's a spot down on the river. You have to hike down in to get to it, so I've never seen it. But he goes down there. This rock was up on a log out there. It was gray. He has a picture of it. When he first saw it, it was gray.
Like creek bed rock or whatever, like gray and speckled? Really, really light. From the rock? I carry this with me all the time. Whoa. Uh-oh.
Sometimes he drops it.
What am I doing here? Sorry about that. I should have known that.
The burdens we carry.
Here it is here anyway. It was riverbed gray light. The next day, now I mean I know that oils and whatever can change, do stuff with rocks, but I can't see how this happened, but it went completely black the next day.
That rock is pure basalt.
Yeah.
Okay.
The next time I went in there, this stump was huge. Next time I went in there, the stump was gone too, so I don't know. Yeah.
I've heard that part.
But if you can see, it looks like, it doesn't show up that good, but if anyone wants to come and have a look at this rock later, you can see like the face, head, it's got like shoulders, arms, leg. It looks like a Sasquatch to me, but you'd have to look at it on here, see what you think. I mean, it's a cool rock.
There you go.
Now, I've still got some time.
Yep.
I wanted to tell a really other interesting story, and this is what I would suggest to anybody who, one way of getting communication with them is if, with these glyphs, leave your own personal glyph out in your area. Just design something like with your name or whatever, like B or whatever, just something for yourself, personal.
You can see what they did to his.
Yeah, but that's what, yeah. Well, they were switching it around and everything and all that kind of stuff. But in any event, this was a really cool story. And this maybe speaks of that time loss that, who was it? The last speaker, Joe Hauser, was talking about. Something went on here that really hard to explain. But in any event, I did my own B glyph and left it out there. And they were switching it around. And I think at first they were doing direction arrows and whatever because they didn't want it so close to the trail. They wanted it off. So they were kind of giving me a hint like, move this, don't make it so obvious. But in any event, I started seeing the B glyph incorporated into some of their glyphs. And one day I found one that had my B in there. It had H for Rajase, it had the A, and it had the P. It was all intricately incorporated, all three of those symbols or personal signature glyphs into one, and it had a roof of protection over it. Now, as soon as I seen it, I just knew what it meant immediately. Like they let me know what it meant. I knew what it meant. It meant that we're connected, we're family, whatever. You're part of us, and we're protecting you, kind of thing. So I took the picture of this glyph, and about a half an hour later on my hike, I wanted to check my camera because I was going to go back there anyway. I said, I'm excited about this. I got to make sure I've got it. So I'm checking out my pictures. It was on there, and get home, I'm all excited. I put it on Facebook, and I was at one point taking like 120 pictures a day or something stupid, like, because I would, just snapping away with different things, not only glyphs, but scenery, mushrooms, whatever, just something, any kind of cool picture. So I got home and I downloaded the 120 pictures. Tom was on the computer too, and when he sees something cool, he saves it to his hard drive right away, okay? So he saved this one picture that I told him about. I said, look at what they did. They put my signature in their own glyph. He saved it to his hard drive, and where is she? My best pal Sue there saw it as well. She can verify it too. She saw it as well, okay? She saw it on Facebook. Now, about a minute later, or two, not very long later, suddenly the picture was not on Facebook. Okay, what happened? All the other 119 were on there. This one was not on there. It was gone from Tom's hard drive, and it was gone from my camera. Yeah.
It was one we weren't supposed to share.
Yeah, and that's what the message I got from it. This is for you. Don't share it. You know, so.
The same thing with that special asterisk that I alluded to. I've been told, don't share that clip. You know, this is for you to see. You guys got to see it, and then it was disassembled. But that's a very sacred, very special clip that was left for us to see once, and don't share it at all.
Yeah, but they made it interesting in the fact that you saw it and Sue saw it, so that's kind of, you know, backs it up. But yeah, that was strange. But you know what? They bring you along slowly, and at that point, I just didn't think it was that strange because it just had so many strange things and wonderful things happen before that it was just like, wow, look what they did. Okay, so.
In the world of the blind, the guy with one eye is king. Is that what you're trying to say?
Basically. What do we get, about 5 minutes? 1 minute? I guess we're pretty well done, eh? So. Anyway, so I don't know. I mean, when I first, you know, I was always interested, but when I got that calling to go into the woods or whatever and met Randy, and then I have to really thank Tom and Arla Colette Williams. They really equipped me with the right attitude or whatever and the right heart to go into the woods. I went in there with respect. I went in there with, like I was going into somebody else's home, because they're people, and that's how I look at it. And I don't know, if you go in there with that right heart and that right attitude, then you can build a relationship with them, in my opinion.
Arla was up in September and went with us up there and had a ball. She met the clan leader.
Oh yeah.
And and they were talking. And she asked him a question. And he said, why do you ask the question that you know the answer to? They continued talking. When they separated, she asked him a question. And he asked her a question, will you return? She said, why do you ask a question you know the answer to? And if you've ever heard a 10.5-foot Sasquatch chuckle.
The funny thing was, I saw her looking up into the bush, up on the hill where he was. And you want to talk about wood knocks? Like when she was looking up, and I saw her expression, she was laughing 1 minute, crying the next. She said that she felt his heart, his lips on her heart kind of thing. It was like really emotional. It was a beautiful emotional experience. But anyway, while she's looking up the hill and I'm watching her emotions or whatever, behind me, like tapping like you would not believe, like wood tapping like crazy to get my attention to keep looking back. Like I guess they didn't want me to see him at the time, but it was like tap, 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 tap. And I kept, do you hear that, Arla? And she's laughing. And of course I didn't see him because I'm keep looking behind me kind of thing, but it's, anyway, 3 years in, and it's a beautiful experience, and just going to go from here and enjoy it. So, thanks a lot. Good job.